North Korea says it will send athletes to the Winter Olympics in South Korea next month. Diplomats made that deal overnight during talks in the Korean demilitarized zone. They were the first between the two countries in more than 2 years. The South is asking the North to march together at the Olympics opening and closing ceremonies.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un wants to be part of the Winter Games, but he has not shown any interest in negotiating over his nuclear program. Today's talks lasted for several hours, and both sides agreed to hold future military discussions. But it's unclear what else they can agree on and how the negotiations will affect the U.S.
Retired Admiral Sandy Winnefeld, CBS News military and homeland security analyst, is with us. He was vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff from 2011 through 2015. Before that, he led the military command responsible for preventing air attacks on North America. Admiral, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Gayle, Norah, and Jeff. It's good to see you in the new year.
Oh, good to see you. Good to see you. Explain the significance of this.
You know, these two nations each came to the table desperately wanting one thing in the near term. On North Korea's part, they desperately wanted the legitimacy that's conferred by participating in the Olympic movement. It would have been enormously humiliating for them had the Olympic spectacle been going on right across the border and they were not participating. And it feeds their message of, you know, we may have nuclear weapons, but we're a normal nation and should be treated like that. On the South's part, they desperately would like to have a disturbance-free games, and even more importantly, they would like to not have participating nations scale back their athletes' participation out of concern for what might happen during the game. So they each came. When you have two parties come to the table and they desperately want something for different reasons, it's really easy to reach an agreement.
Which leads to the question, Admiral, are they just doing this now so they can have sort of a safe and happy games and then the tension immediately returns right after?
You know, negotiators are always looking for a hook. They're looking for something to break the ice, and there is maybe a little ray of sunshine here that this might lead to something else, but I would be very cautious about irrational exuberance here. The military exercises, for example, were postponed, not canceled. We still have two leaders that like to taunt each other, and we still have a North Korea with a long history of manipulating negotiations like this.
Now, President Trump had said that the talks would not have happened between the two countries without his tough stance. Do you think he helped contribute to this?
You know, I don't want to take anything away from the administration, but I do not believe that North Korea came to the table because they were intimidated or dragged to the table. They came with a very specific purpose in mind, and that is to regain some legitimacy out there in the real world, to avoid the humiliation of not participating in the games, and in the process possibly cut in a little bit to the resolve that the international community might have towards future sanctions.
So what do you think U.S. officials will be looking for most closely as these two sides communicate with each other?
Well, of course, everybody will be parsing every single word that is said during these negotiations. They'll be choppy with people coming in and out of the room and the like. And in particular, people will be very interested in the responses that North Korea gives when asked about the potential for future negotiations regarding the nuclear program or other military matters. Got to be careful not to read too much into what the other side says, but that will be very, very closely examined.
Admiral, when I was in South Korea earlier this year and spoke with President Moon, he had talked about that he wants to sit knee to knee with Kim Jong-un to have these bilateral talks. The concern that some experts have raised, however, is that while that's happening, though, the North will use that time to continue to build up their missile and nuclear capability. Is our intelligence good enough to know what they're doing?
Well, you know, looking into North Korea is looking through a glass darkly. It's a very opaque country. It's very, very difficult to get intelligence there. We've known for some time, because the intelligence community told us, that North Korea is interested in developing a strategic nuclear weapons program. And we reacted accordingly. So there are no real big surprises there. The only surprises are little timing things. Maybe they do things a little faster than we had expected. But I would call that intelligence imperfection, not intelligence failure. We've known they've wanted this program for a long time.
All right, Admiral, thank you very much for your time.
Very welcome. Thank you.